Hi, my name is Mike Nash. I'm the author of Aggressive Health and the creator of the Anti-Aging Health Matrix. And in this 4-part video series, you're going to discover the most important change that you have to make if you want mastery over your health once and for all. Now, thankfully, it's simple. Okay, it's easy to apply. Once you know it, completely obvious. All you need to do is tune in and watch carefully. If, however, you don't watch this 4-part series, then in my opinion, the result could be you ending up suffering with some kind of easily avoidable disease which may take your life prematurely. Now, listen, I know that's a pretty crazy statement to make, right? But let me tell you why I made that statement. Okay, here's why. According to many researchers, your chances of dying from one of the top 10 killers in today's society is so high that it's virtually guaranteed. Now think about that, virtually guaranteed. Okay, long gone are the days when most people pass away peacefully in their sleep, which, personally I think is absolutely horrifying. So when I heard this, immediately I wanted to know, what the top 10 killers were. So my question to you is, do you know what the top 10 killers are in today's society, especially in the West? If you don't, then this video and the other videos in this 4-part series are going to be the most important wake-up call you ever get with regards to your health. Think about it. If you don't even know what they are, okay, if you don't even know what the top 10 killers are, how can you even begin to figure out some simple strategies to increase your chances of avoiding them? Now, we're going to come back to that in a moment, but for now, let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look at the list right now. Number 1, heart disease and strokes. Okay. Number 2, cancer. Number 3, iatrogenic death. Okay. In fact, let me read you a quote by Hodgson Brown. Conventional medicine itself is now the number 1 killer. Iatrogenic, or medically caused, deaths, including fatal drug reactions, medical errors and unnecessary medical and surgical procedures, tallied in at 783,936 deaths annually, beating both heart disease at just under 700,000 and cancer at just over 550,000. There are inexpensive, natural, non-toxic alternatives that work, but they have been largely suppressed by a profit-driven medical pharmaceutical industrial complex that has monopolized markets, the legislature and the courts. So even though we put heart disease and cancer at 1 and 2, according to her, iatrogenic death is actually at number 1. Anyway, point number 4, respiratory diseases. Number 5, accidents. Number 6, Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Number 7, diabetes. Number 8, nephritis and other kidney-based disorders. Number 9, influenza and pneumonia. And then finally, at number 10, suicide. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather die peacefully in my sleep than have my health stolen away from me prematurely by one of these diseases. And that, my friend, is one of the goals of the Anti-Aging Health Matrix, because I'm sure you, like me, would prefer to die peacefully in your sleep. Remember, I've been in the health business since I was 17 years old. I'm almost 40 years old now, and that's over 20 years, okay? So I've got experience in many diverse areas, and now I want to share with you the conclusion of a relentless pursuit of health and wellness. And in my opinion, if you think about it, your chances of winning the lottery are greater than your chances of avoiding all of the top 10 killers if you don't have a set of conscious strategies in place to avoid each of them. That's how serious this is, in my opinion. Now let's ask the obvious question, okay? Have you got a strategy to avoid heart disease and strokes? If not, why not? Okay? The number 1 killer, okay, wait for it, is killing 1 in 2 people in the Western world. Okay, that's 1 in 2. Now you've got a greater chance of avoiding a bullet in a 6-chamber, gun playing Russian roulette than you do those odds. So once again, listen, if once you've mastered the Anti-Aging Health Matrix, if someone asks you what is your strategy to avoid the number 1 killer, it's going to be on the tip of your tongue. You see, if you don't have a simple strategy or a set of understandings, guess what? You put yourself at risk. And I don't want you to be at risk. I want you to be feeling certain that what you're doing day to day, okay, is really making a difference. In the same way that, an artist paints a beautiful picture and every stroke matters, I want each day to be an opportunity for you to paint the picture of your future with each decision you make. And by the way, if you think this is impossible, then my question to you is, what about the Nobel Prizes that have been won by researchers in recent years that can dramatically help you master superior cardiovascular health? Okay, and again, more about that later. Now let's look at cancer, okay? And let's ask the obvious question. Do you have a strategy to avoid the second biggest killer? And again, I ask the question, if not, why not? It's killing 1 in 3 people in today's society, or 1 in 2, depending on which researcher you speak to. And if you're watching this, I suspect you know of someone, maybe close to home, who's had this deadly disease. Now, hopefully they recovered from it. And if they didn't, then again, I'm sorry to bring it to your attention. But we can't keep our heads in the sand any longer. 1 in 3 people is a statistic not to be ignored. Now, would you fancy your chances if a gun with a 9-bullet chamber had 3 bullets in it and you had to pull the trigger? You see, they're not statistics you want to be messing with, especially when there's information out there that can radically support your health. Again, what if I could tell you right now that there are daily practices that can be employed, again, some based on Nobel Prize winning research, that you can build into your daily routine to increase your chances of avoiding the world's number 2 killer. Remember, nothing I have for you is a cure, okay? I don't even believe in cures. I believe in the power of the human organism to self-regulate when given the chance to do so, okay? So if you're looking for cures, I suggest you go down to your doctor and let them give you the bad news. And that is that even after a century of cutting-edge research, okay, we still don't have a cure for anything. So you can either be patient, cross your fingers and wait, or you can do what I've done and employ some simple yet powerful principles that have kept me feeling young, vital and alive, all whilst I'm just about to turn 40 years old. Next, killer number 3, iatrogenic death. Okay, that's death caused by taking the right prescription given to you by your doctor. Now here's the thing, it's not my business to interfere with your relationship that you have with your doctor. It's my business to teach you a variety of health principles so your health is so robust that you don't need to go and see the doctor, okay? You don't wake up on random days and decide, today's the day I'm going to go and visit the doctor. You only go when something goes wrong, okay? And as I've said before, I'm here to help you build health, not cure disease. In fact, what does common sense tell you? Do you want to be the person taking 8 or 9 or 10 or 20 pharmaceutical drugs each day, or would you like to be able to live an energetic, vibrant life in the absence of disease and the absence of drugs? Okay, it's a simple question. Killer number 4, respiratory diseases. So do you have a strategy to look after your lungs and their ability to deliver oxygen throughout your body? If you do, great, but could you employ even more, in order to really secure your health? The ancient Taoists had many strategies to support their lung organ system, including some very powerful health practices, foods and tonic herbs. Okay, so if you're familiar with 21st century health technologies and also want to know how some of the ancient wisdom of the East has made its way into the health matrix, you're going to love it when we tackle this information to help prevent the number 4 killer. The next killer, number 5, accidents. Okay, accidents is kind of an interesting one because obviously if you're sitting at home and an aeroplane crashes into your living room, that's just got to be horrible luck, right? But in many instances, your ability to make good or bad decisions can come down to the overall balance and activity and blood flow in your brain. Okay, and as that improves and becomes more harmonious, it's been proven by many doctors, neuroscientists and researchers that you can actually increase your chances of making better decisions that maybe don't increase your risk of dying from an easily avoidable accident. And we'll be discussing what it takes to harmonise brain health within the anti-aging health matrix, and how it can help you avoid, where possible, the number 5 killer on the list. But remember, even one of my favourite health advocates, Paul Bragg, he died in a surfing accident, in his 90s, so obviously there's only so much you can do here. Talking of the brain, this leads us nicely onto killer number 6, Alzheimer's. Okay? Alzheimer's, a form of dementia, is another disease that is rapidly increasing, and again, if you don't have a brain strategy that has been proven to prevent Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, then this could be the weak link. Okay? And I don't know about you, when my children grow up and have children, I want to be super granddad. Okay? Still able to play with them, be active, play golf, table tennis, football, chess and everything else, so that I can pass my wisdom down and allow them to be healthy and vibrant. And by the way, what you pass on in the way of genetic strength will be affecting more than just your offspring, okay? It's been shown to have an effect on 4 generations into the future, okay? And if you know anything about intention, vision and goal setting, then you'll soon see why my passion to be an amazing great-grandfather is probably one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the anti-aging health matrix in the first place. Then we've got diabetes coming in at number 7, which to me, this is just an embarrassment, okay? A disease that used to be called adult onset diabetes is now showing up in children and setting them up for a future of disease and dysfunction. However, simple understandings detailed in my book and in the Anti-Aging Health Matrix show you how easy it is to rebalance your body once you understand the principles that combine together to create this kind of matrix of understanding. Next, we've got kidney-based disease at number 8, and there is no better time than right now to do everything to support your kidney energy system, from high-tech solutions to some very simple low-tech solutions that we'll be covering. Remember, your kidneys filter your blood, and your blood is the river of life, so keeping your kidneys and all your organs robust and healthy is a major focus of the Anti-Aging Health Matrix. Killer number 9, influenza and pneumonia. Once you understand how to look after immunity through a variety of different principles, then you'll soon see how easy it can be to avoid these, the killer number 9. And then finally, at number 10, suicide, okay, which leads me perfectly into the next key distinction. Here's the thing. Once you are totally clear on what is killing everyone, okay, and then have applied some simple strategies and frameworks to steer away from them, the likelihood is that you'll be feeling so energetic and balanced and harmonious and motivated to live a life that inspires you on a daily basis, then suicide really shouldn't be something that even comes into your, into your existence. Remember, if you look at the top 10 killers and you want a cure for them, think again. These killers are not there to be cured, okay? They're there to be understood so they can be avoided. Let me repeat that. They're there to be understood so then they can be avoided. Okay, anyway, enough of the bad news, right? The good news is this. This particular wake-up call that you're experiencing right now, I went through it myself, okay? And when I looked at what was happening in the world around me, I was horrified. Totally 100% horrified. And what made it worse was when I looked at the sadness and the upset, and, the illness and disease causes families of those suffering, okay, then that kind of made it even worse. See, it's not just the person themselves, but their entire family that are put through the ringer. For example, like my girlfriend's grandmother, she passed away recently, and obviously, being part of that whole family dynamic, the pain and the upset caused throughout the entire family was horrible, okay? And a friend of mine's mum recently, they passed away from cancer after a long battle. Last year my uncle had a stroke, okay, and another relative of mine is suffering with dementia. My brother and sister both have diabetes. The list goes on. Now, I know the way I see the world might be a little bit black and white. Illness, disease and death, they cause incredible family stress and upset, right? Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want that to happen to me, okay? I don't want to put the burden on my children, with that kind of, so they've got that to look forward to in their future. Given the choice, I just simply rather die peacefully in my sleep. Now, I'm sure if you're watching this, you're thinking, well, obviously, but here's the thing, is it obvious? Because when I look around, I don't see people taking steps to secure their health for their entire life. I see people who, for the most part, are completely unaware of the impact of their daily actions. So, what's the good news here? Well, here's the thing. In a nutshell, when I looked at that top 10 killers list and the pain and the suffering that is caused by people and their families who have these diseases, I had to figure out a way at all costs to avoid all of this. So, in a nutshell, I went to work, okay, and I started initially looking at, a plan for avoiding heart disease, drawing out all the main ideas and principles that had the backing of Nobel Prize winning research, or had been heavily researched and published in well-respected medical journals, which, by the way, hardly ever make the daily news, okay, especially the headlines. So, if you sit and watch the news every night, don't expect to be hearing about, some scientist who's been, spent the last 10 years beavering away on a particular project, or, or what I call real news, okay, you're not going to see it. So again, did that for heart disease, then I did the same for cancer, again, digging into Nobel Prize winning research, which to this day hasn't even been discredited. So I applied this same pattern of thought until I had an absolute bucket load of principles and ideas, all related to the top 10 killers. And then, as I was sort of sifting through them, kind of joining the dots, what I noticed was something began to emerge. Almost like a master blueprint, or a matrix of information that seemed to weave its way through the entire list of, of killers on that top 10 list. What I was expecting to find was kind of a bunch of separate ideas, all kind of separated out, not this kind of health web that seemed to tie everything together. And over a number of weeks it became clearer and clearer until finally all the pieces fell into place. And it was at this point I had the strangest experience. And for the first time ever in 20 years, okay, in the health industry, I felt a sense of calm, a sense of peace, and almost like a sense of knowing that for the rest of my life, I'd have nothing to worry about. Okay, there would literally be no chances whatsoever that I'd suffer with, any of the top 10 killers if, I simply applied the strategies that I'd uncovered and organised into this kind of all-powerful master plan. Now, obviously I might be wrong, I might go out tomorrow and get hit by a bus, but nonetheless, the feeling of certainty and that wave of peace and knowing that I experienced was enough to convince me that, that basically I was at least onto something. And it was at this point I realised what it was. It wasn't one thing, or one principle, or one understanding. It was many things, many lessons, and many understandings. It wasn't that one magical, all-singing, all-dancing principle, which you hear a lot about these days, but a complete set of understandings that all seem to have an impact on one another. Make a tweak over here and it would benefit you over here. Make a tweak over there and it would benefit you over here. And what I realised is that it was a matrix of understanding comprising of everything. The big picture principles that must be employed at all costs, along with some of the more subtle, refined principles that complete the picture. And for the first time ever, after 20 years of research, I could see it all right in front of my very eyes. A simple yet powerful approach to avoid the top 10 killers and master your health at every level for an entire lifetime. Now, the thing was as well, is it had things built into it that automatically made it perfect for anyone, at any age, at any level of health. And that's when the name came to me, the Anti-Aging Health Matrix. It's as simple as that. Now, here's the thing, remember this. If you want to be part of an elite group of people, who are, for all intensive purposes, marching towards their 100th birthday with no doubt in your mind, in fact absolute certainty, then you must at least have a strategy to avoid the top 10 killers, right? That makes sense. To me that's logical. And if you continue watching this educational video series, we're going to come back to that in video number 4. Remember, your chances of dying from one of the top 10 killers, in today's society, according to many researchers, is virtually guaranteed. And I don't want this to happen to me, because I don't want to put that burden of pain and suffering, as I've said, on my children and my relatives, and I don't want it happening to you either. So I've got 2 questions for you right now. The first one is simple. Are you at least motivated to do whatever it takes to move away from the top 10 killers and build strategies that prevent death and disease and dysfunction based on Nobel Prize winning research and the research that is tucked away in numerous health journals? Or, the second question, are you more motivated to just stay as young as possible for as long as possible? Now here's the thing, I happen to be driven by both, but I do find it easier to imagine a future where I'm playing with my children, playing with my great-grandchildren, or my grandchildren, playing with my great-grandchildren even. In fact, I find it a lot easier to focus on continuing to do the things that I love, things that I love doing right now, such as playing with my kids, whether that's roller skating together, playing football together, playing table tennis, going climbing together, or going out on our skateboards or ripsticks, and then you've also got things like, spending time with my girlfriend and going dancing together. We happen to love salsa, and we also love travelling together. And then there's the things that I do, that I do on my own, like playing golf, reading, studying, training, gymnastics, hand balancing, that kind of thing. So my question to you is, what do you love doing? What do you want to carry on doing? Not just now, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And also, are there things out there that, that you may have never tried yet, which, once you do try, you're going to love also? See, if you can fill your life with the things that you love and you can get engaged in doing them, then obviously that's got to lead to the best life of all. With this mindset, you're going to find yourself on an upward spiral as your motivation increases and you take on new and exciting challenges and pursuits. Something that engages you and allows you to really get lost in the activity, or tap into those flow states when time seems to just disappear and you're left feeling fantastic. The main thing here is the facts are staring you in the face. You either move in the direction you want because you fear the alternatives, disease, dysfunction, and the top 10 killers that are stealing people's health prematurely, or you become so motivated to maintain a sharp brain, healthy athletic body, clear skin, stable energy levels, low body fat, low visceral fat, healthy organ systems, great eyesight, sexual desire and close relationships, etc. And you build strategies into your daily routine that allow the blossoming of all of this and more, regardless of your past or your current situation. And if you don't do anything, then think about it. Those that create the statistics, they're just waiting for you patiently, without judgment by the way, to add you to their list. And you can see examples everywhere. Someone once said to me, they said, look, you're either an example or you're a warning. Now, I've got kids, so for me, I chose to be an example. Okay, and fingers crossed they feel the same way. And you know what? I see inspirational examples everywhere, and I'm going to share many of these with you, to maintain your inspiration. And I'll also urge you to look for warnings, which is not really that hard to find. You've only got to look out your window. People who you don't want to end up like. Think about it. If you mess this up, okay, for an entire lifetime, you've got to be in agreement with me here. You know what you've got to look forward to. You've got one of the top 10 killers. If, however, you do a few things right, and I'll show you what these are, then life can unfold in front of you, in front of your very eyes, in a way that you choose, in a way that keeps you inspired and enjoying every minute. The problem with most people is they've got their head in the sand, okay, and for the most part unintentionally. See, why unintentionally? Well, you think about it, media, okay, advertisers, news broadcasters, etc. They've known for decades how easy it is to guide and direct people's attention. I'm here today to get you to focus on the brutal truth and offer a solution that I'm willing to bet you'll agree with once you finish this 4-part training. Then you'll get the choice as to whether you want to continue your study with me and delve even deeper. Now, many people emailed me and told me they thought Aggressive Health was one of the best books they'd ever read on the subject of health, but I knew that there were some areas that needed tweaking and needed adjusting. Thankfully, in the Anti-Aging Health Matrix, we unlock those levels, making the whole approach to health better and more complete than anything that has ever been created ever before. And you have the chance now to stick with me for the next 3 videos as I share with you key insights into the Anti-Aging Health Matrix. So let's recap. You know, if you don't have some powerful strategies to avoid the top 10 killers, then statistically, the chances are you're going to, one of them is going to steal your life prematurely. And at the same time, if you don't have an inspiring vision for the future and open your mind to the possibilities of spending time with your great-great-grandchildren or something else that sparks those kinds of emotions in you, then again, your chances of taking this subject seriously are probably not where I would want it to be. If, however, you're still watching and trust in the 20 years that I've been bouncing around the health industry, that I may have a thing or two, okay, that can take your life not only to the next level, but effectively secure your health for a lifetime, then you must tune into the next video. But I just wanted to highlight something incredibly important right now. There was a specific reason why we've just discussed the top 10 killers. This wasn't just some kind of random presentation, but sets a very important framework for what we're going to finish discussing in the last video in this 4-part series. So make sure you stay tuned throughout because, again, like I said, right now, we're just laying down this important foundation. In the next video, I'm going to be revealing to you the secrets behind the Anti-Aging Health Matrix. And remember, here's the thing. We all know that you can't stop the aging process, right? But evidence does suggest that you can speed it up with things like smoking, alcohol abuse, recreational drug abuse, poor lifestyle choices and stress, etc. So with that in mind, you must be able to slow it down. Now, if you can do this, then like I've said before, you give yourself a fighting chance of avoiding the top 10 killers in today's society. Now, the other motivation that led to the creation of the Health Matrix was confusion and frustration. You see, I know that if you're into health and well-being, or want to perform at your very best and prevent the ravages of time, you've probably been exposed to an absolute ton of information, and I can't tell you how many times I've been confused over the years. Think about it. How many supplements have you come across all promising to be the next best thing? How many herbs or superfoods have you seen advertised? How many diet plans have you read or tried? And what about, the thousands of health gurus? Okay, how many have you listened to? How many have you followed? And how many exercise plans have you maybe started, and then stopped, and then started again? And what about other things like, how to manage your mind and emotions and reduce stress? You see, here's the thing. The list is endless. And how do I know? Because just like you, I'm exposed to all of this as well. In fact, all I've done for the past 20 years is research all of this. And here's the thing. As I approach my 40th birthday, as I've said, I've created a system that I know without any shadow of a doubt will keep me feeling young into my senior years, as it brings together everything I've spent the last 20 years studying. Everything in this course details what I do to avoid the top 10 killers, and also what I do to ensure that I've got the energy and vitality so that I spend my time wisely on this planet doing what I love. So here's the next question that you're probably asking. What is the Anti-Aging Health Matrix? Well, put simply, it's a 3-tiered matrix or blueprint that highlights the most important health principles in existence. And once you know what they are, they serve as a filter, okay? A filter that will allow you to assess your strengths and your weaknesses and make sure that the next decision that you make regarding your health and your wellness is the right one for you. Now the health matrix, as I've said, is split into 3 tiers, okay, or 3 levels. The first tier is what I call the big picture principles, or the big 7. These are the principles that you simply must employ if you're going to avoid the top 10 killers discussed earlier, okay? But more importantly, you must employ to maximise your chances of exceptional health. Then once you understand these, you move into tier number 2. And the principles in tier number 2 are a little bit more specific, but again, the main point I want you to understand is that without a clear sense of the principles in tier number 1, these principles in tier number 2, although still critical, are nowhere near as powerful. Then we move into tier number 3, and this is where I fear that too many people are wasting their attention. And again, tier number 3, is super critical, but when I look around, if the top 2 tiers of the matrix are neglected, then a person can waste, they can waste time, energy and money focusing on the details, when mastery of the bigger picture principles will be a better use of their time and energy. By moving from the big picture principles in tier number 1 to the more specific details in tier number 2 and in tier number 3, you're going to gain a level of knowledge, understanding and wisdom that will set you apart from the majority of people running around and effectively chasing their tails. And let me tell you, they're everywhere. In fact, as a side note, I can recognise these people simply because of the types of questions that I get asked. Okay, now the questions that I get asked, to me, they really highlight how a person is thinking and how a person is assessing their health. For example, a question I get asked a lot: what one thing can I buy to resolve one particular issue? It's that magic pill mentality, and it's nonsense, and that's where people get stuck. Okay, so if you want to know another reason why I've created the Anti-Aging Health Matrix and this free 4-part training program, is to blow apart this myth and get people to realise that if you want health and longevity, you better do everything. Okay, the secret and the trick is making it easy, so you hardly even have to give it any thought. Now, I know on the surface people are sick of being overweight. Okay, I know people hate struggling. I know people are sick of seeing themselves, age, as they look at an old photo of themselves and wonder why they can't look like they used to. I know people are sick of suffering with skin disorders. I know people are sick of having lost their sex drive. I know people are sick of, having to stimulate themselves throughout the day because their energy levels are so poor. I've got friends who are sick of not feeling like they're attractive to the opposite sex, and sick of being single and alone. And here's the thing, sometimes, as when people get like this, they get sick of something, they take a stand and their motivation goes up. But for the most part, the strategy that they use to kind of get where they want to go, it's got gaps in it, weak links in the chain, and ultimately it leads to yet another failure. And here's the thing, quite simply, I wanted this to come to a grinding halt. I wanted people to finally make that all-important breakthrough where they realise that when it comes to health, you can't just do one thing and expect everything to change. You need to do everything, and then everything will change. Which sounds really tough, right? Doing everything. Well, listen, I've got news for you. After 20 years of research and being in this industry and looking at all of this, I've made it easy. Okay? Yes, you're still going to have to do it. You're still going to be responsible for taking action. But I'm going to show you how easy it can be. And if it wasn't easy, let me tell you, I wouldn't be doing it. Okay? And it all comes back to the Anti-Aging Health Matrix. So let me tell you something. Most people haven't, in my opinion, even mastered the principles in tier number 1 of the Anti-Aging Health Matrix. And yes, you don't even know what those principles are yet, but be patient because I'm going to share those with you in the next video. Okay? So let's summarise. The statistics are scary, okay, and no one wants to die from one of the top 10 killers. To help prevent this, prevent this eventuality, I've created a system called the Anti-Aging Health Matrix, made up of 3 tiers. Okay? Tier number 1 comprises of the 7 most important health principles in existence today. Then you've got tier number 2, which again, critical principles, but without the first, only half as powerful. And then you've got tier number 3, again, incredibly powerful, but again, without tier number 1, okay, and tier number 2, without those in place, it represents where most people are wasting their time and attention. This is why I call it the Anti-Aging Health Matrix, because for the first time ever, okay, you're going to see how everything fits together. And never again will you have to be in that place of confusion where you're not sure what decision to make next to increase the level of health, your level of health and vitality, and again secure it for a lifetime. And here's the thing, if you were to see a course or a practice or an ancient discipline that fascinates you, rather than just mindlessly getting involved, you'll be able to take a step back and see how it fits into the whole health matrix and decide based on your current strengths and weaknesses whether it's the best use of your time right now, or something you can put on the back burner. And remember, no matter how good you get at all of this, time is a limited resource. So if you're like me, you're going to want to manage that resource to the best of your ability. And let's be clear here, this 4-part training series, okay, it's exclusively designed to get results. Okay, think about it. In this video, your awareness of what is killing people has been heightened. You might not have known that information before, but now you do. And now it's in your mind, okay? Your motivation to avoid the top 10 killers has been increased. And in the next video, I'm going to walk you through the big 7 principles that make up tier number 1 of the anti-aging health matrix, so you can start thinking differently about your health immediately. Okay? It's the only way, in my opinion, you'll stand a chance of freeing yourself from the horrifying statistics that we've discussed and steering away from those top 10 killers. So here's the thing, if you like this video and it's piqued your curiosity and acted as a massive wake-up call, leave a comment below, share this video far and wide, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.